For hundreds of years, the land and landscape of DeGray Lake has been shaped by both natural and human forces, which continue to this day and into the future. DeGray Lake is a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers multi-purpose project located on the Caddo River in south-central Arkansas. It was in 1932 that the Corps of Engineers considered this site for flood control measures for the Washita River Basin. The Caddo River of west-central Arkansas is known widely as the natural state's premier family float stream. This scenic river is named after the Caddo Indians who settled the Washita Mountain drainage area. Since that time, many generations have settled, explored, and enjoyed this watercourse. This spring-fed Washita Mountain stream offers something for everyone. The DeGray Lake region was originally inhabited by the Caddo Indians. A hunter-gathering people, the Caddo were also skilled in agriculture. They cultivated maize, beans, squash, sunflowers, and tobacco. The history of the Caddo in this region has been traced to AD 700. They were the people living in the area at the time of the Hernando de Soto expedition in 1541. De Soto probably learned of the location of the hot springs of the Washita from the Caddo, who used the hot springs for medicinal purposes. The Caddo way of life was changed forever by their contacts with the Spanish explorers, who introduced them to the horse. According to legend, the Caddo led the Hernando de Soto expedition to the hot springs of the Washita in 1541, searching for the fountain of youth and gold. De Soto was probably led to the springs by Caddo Indian guides. The springs provided the Indians spiritual and medicinal benefits. French fur trappers followed in the 1700s, bringing increased trade to the area with their extensive trapping of river otter and beaver. DeGray itself was named for a French fur trapper named de Graaf, who settled near the dam site. The DeGray community, the first settlement downstream of the dam site, provided the name for the lake. In 1803, with the Louisiana Purchase and the Hunter-Dunbar expedition into this region, settlers began moving into the area in larger numbers. In 1803, the United States purchased the Louisiana Territory from France. President Thomas Jefferson sent several expeditions into America's new lands. The most famous expedition was led by U.S. Army Captains Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. It ascended the Missouri River in search of the Northwest Passage. A lesser-known expedition, now called the Forgotten Expedition, was led by William Dunbar, a planter and naturalist from Natchez, Mississippi, and Dr. George Hunter from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They were commissioned to head a scientific expedition up the Washita River to explore the hot springs. After the arduous task of propelling a non-motorized keelboat upstream for many miles, the party of 15 reached the Valley of the Vapors, Hot Springs, Arkansas, in December 1803. Arkadelphia was settled in about 1809 by John Hemphill, operator of a nearby salt works, Arkansas's first industry. It was known as Blakelytown until 1839, when the settlement adopted the name Arkadelphia. From around 1880 until the 1920s, the Washita Mountain region, including the present-day location of DeGray Lake, was prized for vast resources of virgin shortleaf pine timber. Loggers prized the red heart pine timber as a means of feeding their families in a region that for the most part had poor soils for farming. The idea of a hydroelectric dam across the Caddo River was the dream of Harvey Couch, owner of the Louisiana and Arkansas Railroad. The year was 1909. Mr. Couch later constructed Remmel and Carpenter's dams on the upper Washita River near Hot Springs, Arkansas. Large-scale construction of dams occurred in the United States during the post-World War II years and reached its peak in the 1960s. The organizations that have been primarily responsible for dam building are the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Bureau of Reclamation, part of the U.S. Department of the Interior, and a number of public and private utility developers. The Continental Congress in June 1775 organized what later became the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, or ACE, when it authorized an engineer and 2 assistants to prepare fortifications for the Battle of Bunker Hill. Engineers were further organized in 1779, but it was not until after the Revolutionary War that the Corps was permanently established in 1802. Thus, the Army Corps of Engineers, located within the Department of Defense, is the nation's oldest water resource agency. The Corps is also the world's largest public engineering, design, and construction management agency. Today, the Corps' primary mission is to provide vital public engineering services in peace and war, to strengthen the nation's security, energize the economy, and reduce risks from disasters. Some important ways this mission is accomplished are through flood control, navigation, hydroelectric power production, water supply, and recreation. Congress passed the Water Supply Act in 1958 that included the Caddo River at DeGray as a water development project. Originally, DeGray's authorized purposes were to control floods and produce hydroelectrical power. Water supply was included as an authorized purpose by the Water Supply Act of 1958. This act provided for the inclusion of municipal and industrial water supply. The Federal Water Pollution Act of 1963 authorized recreation. DeGray Lake became the only lake within the Vicksburg district which had recreation as an authorized purpose. The first work began in 1962 with the construction of the access road and a bridge over the Caddo River. A 29-foot diameter tunnel was drilled through the Jack Fork Sandstone Formation at the present site of the west abutment to divert the Caddo while the dam was being constructed. On June 11, 1964, a groundbreaking ceremony for the dam was held with many dignitaries present. DeGray Dam was completed and dedicated on May 20, 1972, at a cost of $63 million. The hydropower production makes DeGray Lake one of the most efficient and energy-producing projects in the South. DeGray Lake holds the distinction as the first pump-back-capable impoundment in the history of the Corps of Engineers. This design included a 400-acre re-regulation pool below the main lake. During times of drought, water from the lower lake can be pumped back into the main lake to be utilized again for hydropower generation. The 400-acre lower lake also serves as an ideal waterfowl refuge. The Corps of Engineers continues to provide dependable flood control, hydropower, and multi-use recreational opportunities. With over 13,400 acres of water surface alone, there is plenty of room to enjoy the many recreational activities DeGray Lake has to offer. We invite you to come see for yourself and explore the beauty of DeGray Lake.